morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Mucking Fonday. Did you have a good weekend? You better have, because you shouldn't have been looking at any of the news, because we're going to tell you all about it here on Before Coffee. This is the first and only international game show Before Coffee, a father and daughter news podcast where we look up our stories right before we started. We just got caffeine in our body and we're learning how to read and speak live on stream. Let's get into those Mucking Fonday headlines and roll that segue wheel. Today on Mucking Fonday, Trump's tariffs. The European Union will suspend its trade agreement with the United States. And Hungary threatens to block EU sanctions on Russia over Ukraine pipeline dispute.
In Epstein news, on Mucking Fonday, Les Wexner. Billionaire Les Wexner, the founder of Victoria's Secret, is deposed by only Democrats in the Congress. We have U.S. to stop collecting tariffs on Tuesday. Never mind. Go ahead. I was about to give all my headlines at once.
Yeah, let's just keep going. Our next headlines are from the International Criminal Court. They're having hearings on the ex-Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. And the new Dutch minority government is sworn in under centrist Prime Minister Rob Jettin.
Mexican forces kill a drug lord, a cartel guy, and that sparks a whole bunch of violence in Mexico. And an armed man a Trump supporter shot entering Mar-a-Lago, Secret Service says. When will this white-on-white violence stop?
In my culture news, the BBC apologizes after broadcast of BAFTA Awards captures slur from a Tourette's tick. That's our drama for culture.
Man, I'm boom goes the dynamite guy today. All right, my next poor reading of headlines. It's National, what is it? It's National Tile Day. Yeah. So yeah, it's National Tile Day. It took me an hour to spit that out, but it's National Tile Day, February 23rd, 2026. I'm Before Coffee.
My only excuse that it's Monday, okay? And it takes... We haven't done this for 2 days. Our brain's completely forgotten how to run the show, and it's normal at this point.
I have no excuse. I'm just...
The coffee has a hint. Yeah, that's your excuse.
Rapidly incompetent. That's my excuse. There you go. Rapidly incompetent. I don't know if that's a term.
Oh, well, that's why I say we're learning to read live on stream. Exactly, because of scenarios like this. Where is my mouse? Yeah. One day my mouse will connect to the other computer. There we go. Let's roll our segue wheel for today's show. Yeah?
Okay, I can't drive. Just a reminder, there's a CBS anchor that makes millions of dollars that does this just as bad. So.
I woke up today and my camera wouldn't connect to my computer, so... Lucky it's connected now, but earlier I spent like 30 minutes being like, what? It's connected to the computer, it's not working, so it's Monday. That's what happens on Mondays. Let's get that segue wheel rolled.
Okay.
Computer just giving up on life.
Whatever that was. Let me just mute myself because I'm going to cough.
Accurate metaphor and simile. For my first stories. This first story is coming out of, well, the EU and the US trade deal. It's from Liberation and AFP. A bombshell announcement from Brussels. The European Parliament will suspend the implementation procedure of the trade agreement between the EU and the United States today, the 23rd of February, following the U.S. Supreme Court's decision invalidating Donald Trump's tariffs, several elected officials indicated before an extraordinary meeting on the subject. This agreement, signed last summer, allowed the European Union to limit tariffs on most of its products to 15%, far from the 30% the American president had threatened to impose. In exchange, the EU committed to eliminating its own tariffs on American imports. On Sunday, the 22nd of February, the chairman of the Parliament's International Trade Committee, German Social Democrat Bernd Lange, announced that he would propose suspending work on the agreement at this meeting. On today, the 23rd of February, representatives of the main trading groups confirmed to AFP their support for this move. MEP Zeljana Zovko, EPP on the right, explained that she supported the suspension of the procedure until the Commission has clarified with the United States the conditions of the new custom duties announced by the Clown-in-Chief. For the Greens, German MEP Anna Cavazzini also declared herself in favor of the suspension. Similarly, the centrist Renew Party, like Karin Karlsbro, stated that on Twitter, "We will not be able to vote on the agreement until the impact of the Supreme Court's decision has been clarified." In a statement, the Commission also demanded full clarification on the measures the United States intends to take following the Supreme Court's decision. The European Parliament's International Trade Committee was originally scheduled to vote on the implementation of this agreement tomorrow on the 24th of February, ahead of a plenary vote by MEPs next month. It should be noted that this procedure had already been suspended by Parliament in January due to convicted felon Trump's threats to annex Greenland, and then relaunched after he abandoned his claims to the Danish territory. And remember, what was all of that? Gaslight news to distract us from the Epstein files. So, surprise, surprise. Moving on from things real fast here. That's all my news on that subject. It's quite short story. Just more of an update than anything.
I will quote every Republican before Trump about tariffs. Mm-hmm. Tariffs are taxes on efficiency. That's what they are. In other words, somebody else can make something in another country cheaper and sell it to you. You go, oh my God, you're screwing your workers. We got to put a tariff on it. That's usually what it is. But yeah, and the unions are the ones in favor of them all the time. Even, of course, unions want uniform, like tariffs that actually make sense, not just we're going to punish countries for no good reason and basically.
He insulted my dog, so you have to pay more tariffs. Okay, that's not a reason to do that.
Long story short, Trump works for Russia.
Indeed. Is that your metaphor?
That was it. The tariffs are a tax on efficiency.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. My next story is another attack, another threat in the EU. Hungary doing what it does best, or I should say Viktor Orban doing what it does best, being in the EU and trying to dismantle it from the inside, as far as I'm concerned. This is from Justin Spike on The Independent. Hungary has threatened for the millionth time to block a new package of European Union sanctions against Russia, install efforts to help Ukraine, demanding the immediate resumption of Russian oil deliveries. This ultimatum precedes a meeting of EU foreign ministers in Brussels on today, the 23rd of February, to discuss the bloc's 20th round of sanctions, hoping for approval by the 4th anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine this Tuesday, which is tomorrow, the 24th of February. Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó announced his intention to block the sanctions in a social media video on the 22nd of February, accusing Ukraine of deliberately withholding Russian oil shipments via the Druzhba pipeline. He stated, "We will not consent to the adoption of the 20th package of sanctions because we have previously made it clear that until Ukraine resumes oil shipments to Hungary, we will not allow decisions that are important to them to be approved." Really petty. Russian oil shipments to Hungary and Slovakia have been interrupted since 27th of January. Really, they're complaining over a month of oil shipments being disrupted. Ukrainian officials claim that the Druzhba pipeline, which carries Russian crude across Ukrainian territory, was caused by a Russian drone attack, escalating tension between Budapest and Kyiv. Yeah, why don't you ask your friend Putin why the hell they're disrupting your oil deliveries, huh? A unanimous decision from the 27-nation bloc is required for the sanctions to pass. Most European nations have significantly reduced or ceased Russian energy imports in Moscow launched its war in February 22. Yet Hungary and Slovakia, both EU and NATO members, have maintained and even increased their reliance on Russian oil and gas, receiving a temporary exemption from the EU policy prohibiting such imports. Mr. Szijjártó also announced on Saturday, the 21st of February, that Hungary would block a major 90 billion euro or $106 billion EU loan to Ukraine, intended to support Kyiv's military and economic needs for the next 2 years. Earlier, Hungary and Slovakia halted diesel shipments to Ukraine over the oil interruptions. Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico threatened to cut off emergency electricity supplies to its neighbor if oil deliveries were not restored by the 23rd of February. These actions align with Hungary's nationalist Prime Minister Viktor Orban, who maintains the closest relationship with the Kremlin among the EU leaders. I love to call it nationalist when it's really Russian federalist. He wants to become part of the Russian Federation. That's what I believe. Mr. Orban argues that Russian fossil fuels are indispensable for his economy, and so is the EU, which is why he won't freaking leave the EU, claiming switching to alternatives would trigger immediate economic collapse, an assertion disputed by experts who I'm going to believe on this subject, not some dude who got elected to office who I don't even know what he's educated in, but I don't think it's economic collapses. He was frequently threatened to undermine the bloc's effort to sanction Moscow, blasted attempts to hit Russia's energy revenues that helped finance the war, and previously vetoed EU military and financial assistance to Ukraine. So, like I said, crony for Putin. Strikes again. It's just so bad.
Well, I was about to say that. My metaphor for Orban is, and Orban's on this board of peace, this you heard of this thing, right? The board of peace, which is basically we're going to carve up Gaza for some rich people to put resorts in. Anyway, Orban is like, you kind of said it already. Orban is Putin's pick-me girl. I'm still on your side, Vlad. I'm still your boy. Come and see me.
Just let me know when you want. Yeah, just let me know when you want me to just abandon the EU. I'll do it. Putin's like, please wait until we win the war against Russia, against Ukraine, and then we will give you all of the support you need. I promise you this. Keep on restricting the EU's sanctions and getting in the way. I love you, Orban. Wink. His fingers crossed behind his back because he's not going to give this guy anything.
No. Orban, the minute you say something bad, though, he'll kill you. Don't forget that.
Yeah. Let's roll the segue
wheel. He's never gonna be your friend, but he will be your owner. All right, you talked about the U.S. Supreme Court already not stop collecting tariffs, so I guess we'll start with that because
and we'll get the full lowdown on that. Exactly.
No, it won't be the full lowdown. It'll be the 2-3 minute lowdown.
That's fine.
What'd you spin?
I spinned. I think it was a hypothetical. Yes. Hypothetical.
Okay. All right. Today on we'll cover tariff news first. The shortest story from Reuters. U.S. to stop collecting tariffs deemed illegal by the Supreme Court on Tuesday. They will stop collecting them on Tuesday. They weren't deemed illegal on Tuesday. They were deemed illegal on, I think, Friday or Saturday. That was Friday. All right. This is from Reuters. David Lauder. U.S. Customs and Border Protection Agency will halt collections on tariffs imposed under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act at 12:01 Eastern Time on Tuesday, in approximately 13 hours. More than 3 days after the U.S. Supreme Court declared the duties illegal. So you should have started collecting them immediately, but I guess you got to coordinate that kind of thing. The agency said in a message to shippers on its cargo systems messaging service that it will deactivate all tariffs associated with Stinky the Clown's illegal tariffs as of Tuesday. The Reuters Inside Track newsletter, blah, 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 that's an ad. The IEEPA tariff, and that's some emergency powers, which has nothing to do with tariffs, had nothing to do with anything. Trump just wants to please Putin. That's all this is about. It has nothing, makes no economic sense to anyone. Even the people that are in favor of it are like, well, Trump says it must be true. Whatever. The tariff collection halt coincides with Stinky the Clown's imposition of a new 15% global tariff under different legal authority, which he doesn't have either, to replace the one struck down by the Supreme Court Friday. CBP gave no reason why it is continuing to collect the tariffs at the ports of entries after the Supreme Court's ruling, and its message offered no information of possible refunds for importers. Don't worry, places like what's that big box store called? I keep forgetting the name. I'll think of it in a minute.
Costco?
Yeah, Costco. Costco never passed on the tariffs to their consumers, and they sued Trump in court. So they're going to get a shitload of money back from the United States government for the tariffs they already paid. Yeah. The message noted that the collection halt does not affect any other tariffs imposed by Trump, including those under Section 232 National Security Statute and the Section 301 Unfair Trade Practice Statute. Okay, that might be something that we did to China for their electric cars. I mean, tariffs at certain points are good things to keep your trade fair, right? Like I said, this country pays their workers shit. That's why their stuff is cheap, and their stuff falls apart, by the way, and we're going to tariff it so people can buy that junk. And that's a legitimate use for a tariff. This is just wholesale nonsense. CBP will provide additional guidance to the trade community through CSMS messages as appropriate. Reuters reported on Friday that the Supreme Court decision made more than $175 billion in U.S. Treasury generated by the $175 billion is all we got from last year, by the way. It's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket as far as tax revenue. Just putting that out. It did not lighten our tax load at all. By the way, they got to pay it all back. Reporters reported on Friday that the Supreme Court decision made more than $175 billion in Treasury revenue generated by the tariffs, subject to potential refunds, based on the estimate by Penn Wharton budget model economists. Their estimate from a groundbreaking forecast model showed that the tariffs were generating more than $500 million per day in gross revenue. So it doesn't matter, because you got to give it back, because the tariffs were illegal, and he can be impeached for this. He can be impeached. It's a separation of powers. It's as if the Congress decided to remove the president all by themselves, without the Senate, or the Supreme Court started arresting people. It's just you can't do things you can't do. The president does not have the power to impose taxes, to raise taxes, as long as the Congress. Yes. There's your story. One more quick update. And
my hypothetical is, what if balance of powers actually worked? This would have never happened to begin with. Because the whole point, right, for anybody who doesn't know how the American governmental system works, right, the whole point of having 3 separate powers is that they're supposed to go, hey, I want to do that. You can't do that, and then they fight over power. Yeah, they're supposed to be in an actual literal sense. They're supposed to be fighting over power among themselves, realistically, right? I'm a representative or a senator. No, I know conceptually that's not what we're supposed to do, but in human behavior, that's what they're doing. I'm a senator for whatever, and I want to be able to have the power to do something. And we as the senators are all going to argue that we don't want to do that. We don't want to pay extra tariffs on our goods. So we should, use that collective power against the president to stop tariffs from being passed. But that's not what happened. What happens now, for the most part, is, well, he is the leader of my party politics. So I agree with everything he does. Which is not what they're supposed to be doing as senators or representatives. They're supposed to be going, the people in my district and the people in my state don't want that. And since I'm supposed to be representing them, I'm gonna not do that. But now we've turned into, right?
Yeah. We're in fascism.
That guy's the leader of my party, so I agree with him. Whatever he does.
Republican Party is lockstep, and they've been lockstep for a long time. Yep. Democrats have always been. That's why Jimmy Carter had so much trouble with Democrats, because Democrats, they let everybody, no matter how fucked up your opinions on, be a Democrat. That's one of the weaknesses of Democrats. The other weakness is the purity test. Right? We gotta have a purity test. They're running a purity test in Texas right now. Right? Oh my God! If the Democratic primary in Texas for Senate is like next week, right? And it's Jim Tallarico, who just got really famous, and Jasmine Crockett, who was already really famous. And everybody's like, oh, you vote for my guy, or I'm not voting in the general election. I'm like, oh, so you want to keep Trump? You stupid motherfuckers. Stop with the
this
purity
is not the
test.
time.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop the purity test. That's why we got Trump in the first place. Oh, they support Israel. I'm not voting for them. You want Trump? He supports Israel, you stupid son of a bitch. Anyway.
And also the thing with Bernie Sanders, right, too. I mean, I don't know. He gets a lot of the blame.
The Bernie bots. Yeah. Bernie bots are the
For
worst.
the first time he got elected. A lot of people blame him because they split the vote between Bernie and Clinton, and then, we got neither of them.
Yeah, all the Bernie bots did not vote for Hillary. That's why we got Trump in the first place. The Bernie bots are, again, me and Melanie had a discussion the other day. She said there's something about one of her people she follows on YouTube is trying to get the non-interested voters to vote. I've said the non-interested voters already voted. They voted for Trump. We don't want them to vote anymore. The people that voted for Trump are people that don't vote. They go,
that was people who thought it would be funny.
That's an issue.
I know plenty of people I never voted before, but I voted for Trump in 2016, right? I voted for Trump because I thought it would be hilarious if he won. That's literally what people were saying back then.
Or they said he thought he'd be good for the economy. He was already president once. He was terrible for the economy. Why would you think he'd be good for the economy? Based on what?
I really felt for Melanie because I'm pretty sure she wasn't able to vote back then either, right? Her first election would have been for after that, I think.
The United States recovered faster from the pandemic. The United States economy improved faster from the pandemic. The United States economy had lower inflation in the entire world. Because of Biden.
Yeah.
And Biden got all the blame for all the shit that Trump did. That's how that works. And now here's Trump going, everybody's like, oh yeah, I thought he'd be good for economy. You voted for him because you're a racist. That's why you voted for him. There's only one reason to vote for Trump anymore, and that's because you're a racist. There's only reason. Unless you're a billionaire.
You're hearing it here. And most of them are racist.
Okay, next story, and this is about Epstein.
Yes.
Friday.
Gaslight back in with the real news that matters.
There's a committee headed by James Comer, a Republican, who let's see, he didn't even go to interview this guy. The guy that has mentioned thousands of times in Epstein files, the guy who gave Epstein billions of dollars over the years, was interviewed by Congress, and they wouldn't even go to Congress. They went to his house, basically. By the way, the same building that is referenced where rapes took place in the Epstein files, they did the interview in this very same building. Isn't that interesting? So Epstein, let's do some Wexner stuff. Let's talk about the OBGYN nonsense, first of all. That Les Wexner is a very rich guy, started Victoria's Secret, and he gave a lot of money to medical schools, got his names on buildings and stuff, and they want his names off those buildings. This is from... And we're going to talk about the OBGYN Ohio State mysteriously got a bunch of money from him. Channel10TV.com, I guess this is in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, has a story. Ohio State OBGYN mentioned in Epstein files brought up during Les Wexner's disposition. An Ohio State doctor who was mentioned several times in documents related to Epstein was brought up during the House Oversight Committee's deposition of Les Wexner on Wednesday. That was Wednesday when they did it. The nearly 5-hour deposition was posted online, and you can be watched you can watch it online. Actually, the whole deposition, some people sat there for 5 hours listening to this guy go, I don't know, Jeffrey Epstein, I just gave him $1 billion. Oh yeah, that happens to me all the time. Recently released documents related to Epstein's contained Landon's name. That's the name of the Dr. Mark Landon, has been an Ohio State faculty member since 1987, is the current chair of the Department of OBGYN. Recently released documents related to Epstein's contain Landon's name, but while his name appears many times in those documents, there's nothing linking Landon to any wrongdoing. Landon previously said he had no knowledge of any criminal activities. Last week, Landon released a statement saying he was a paid consultant for the New York Strategy Group regarding potential biotech investments from 2001 to 2005. Landon's consulting ended in 2006. Documents released by the Department of Justice show internal emails asking Epstein if the company was still giving Landon his $25,000 quarterly payment. Let's see, that's 5 years times 4. That's 20. That's $500,000. Initial documents show that when one of Landon's previous payments was due, someone from the strategy group said the company billed Wexner and his wife Abigail in advance, as we have in prior years. He was paid by Epstein on your behalf to consult on biomed investments. Is that correct? The committee member asked Wexner's during the deposition. I just heard about that. I didn't know that until maybe the last few days, he said, lying sack of shit said. Wexner said he was unaware that those quarterly payments were being made. In response, a committee member stated that he found it hard to believe Wexner knew nothing was going on. You know, Mr. Wexner, I'm watching this all unfold. I just want you to know that it's incredibly hard for people to understand that you don't know this. Maybe you don't know specific details. Maybe you don't know the dollar amounts, but Epstein was able to empower and able to be empowered, able to hurt more people with your money. You understand that, committee member said. Wexner said Epstein was a crook, but he didn't know why Epstein was playing Landon. Okay. I find this guy's deposition, I watched a lot of it. I watched some of his answers, and they're mostly. And don't forget, live on the mic, at a hot mic, caught Wexner's lawyer saying, if you say more than 5 words, I'm going to kill you. That's what he actually said. That's what his lawyer said on the hot mic. So if you want to watch that video, that's fun. But yeah, you answer any question more than 5 words, I'm going to kill you. I'll kill you, or something like that. It was, yeah, you can watch it. Yeah.
How's he going to get paid if he kills him? That's the real question.
That's the kind of thing the lawyer says to you. Yeah. You're not in deep doo or anything, Les. Don't worry, you're 84, Les. You will not spend any time. There's no chance Les Wexner will go to prison. Zero chance in the United States. This old fart will ever go to prison. He's 84. He'll probably drop dead during the trial. Why doesn't he just come clean and start naming names? Come on. Don't you believe God's going to punish you? All right, let's have us... Association? Yeah. Hypothetical.
No. Hypothetical.
And don't forget, he's a
there's my hypothetical for you. If this lawyer kills his client, how is he going to get paid exactly? That's a crazy thing to say.
Power attorney like don't forget, Jeffrey Epstein, the guy who barely knew Les Wexner, by the way, had power of attorney. Had power of attorney over billionaire.
Yeah.
Barely knew each other, didn't know him that well, but Epstein had power of attorney over him. That makes perfect sense. You give power of attorney to your long-time trusted, but he was a crook. He's a crook. That's what Les Wexner says. He's a crook. Why did you give power of attorney to a crook, you insane man? Yeah, there's a lot of cover-up going here. It's disgusting. It's disgusting that some old fart isn't even trying to get to heaven anymore, right? Is he afraid his kids won't get his inheritance? Because your kids don't deserve their inheritance. They didn't do anything to earn it there, Leslie. You're the one that started the business, Leslie. You're the one. His name was originally redacted because they thought it was a woman's name. That was their original. Leslie, that's probably a victim's name. It's like he's
didn't even know who he was.
Are you guys even paying attention to it? But they have some kind of stupid program that does this stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
Who knows how they're reacting? The first
sort of
redactions were getting
AI
rid of,
thing, probably.
The first redactions were getting rid of Trump's name and Pam Blondy's name from all the files. That was the first redaction last March. The second one was just haphazard and non-existent for most of the victims. Anyway, there's your shitty story about the shitty people that are running things in this country. And by the way, if you still buy Victoria's Secret, stop buying it. It made this guy rich.
Just another thing to add to the list of, let's just start making our own clothes. Get a sheep, get some cotton, get some hemp or something, and just start making your own clothes. It's more of you at this point.
One thing I didn't cover is that they asked, "What did you ever see Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump together at the same time?" And saying, "Oh," and he thought about it. Well, you know what was really weird was Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump started showing up at these Victoria's Secret shows, right? And Donald Trump had nothing to do with the industry. He had nothing to do with the industry, and all of a sudden he's showing up at Victoria's Secret model. You know, they're modeling underwear, right? Yeah, that's Trump's MO right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And another revelation that I just wanted to bring up shortly. Epstein had the same disease as Hitler. And you know what that disease was that makes you become this violent psycho? I forget the name of the disease. We talked about it before. Hitler had a small Johnson. Really small. He was very small. So there you go.
We did an article about, did he have a micropenis? Yeah.
Micropenis. Epstein had the same thing. Verified the same thing. This is why they're having so much trouble with his autopsy being faked, because the autopsy said in a normal length, whatever. And the women that were accusing him, women are legitimately in his orbit, right? That did have sex with him are like, no, that he did not. He had a micropenis. And that's probably why he was with young girls. You know, they aren't going to laugh at him like grown women would. I don't know. So Trump has the same thing.
Tangent where we're going on. Okay.
we got it from Stormy Daniels that Trump has the same problem. Low self-esteem. Okay. He has to date children. Yeah, these guys are fucking pathetic. Hey, there's more to your life, you pathetic losers. Man.
Let's roll a segue wheel for my next stories, so we can move on from this topic.
Billionaires are always compensating. No, I'm saying billionaires are compensating. I said I could be a billionaire.
I think we've got your point. If you haven't gotten his point by now, I don't know what to tell you for you, buddy.
You don't feel like a complete man unless I can dominate something. That's what it is. It's like, I'm filthy rich, but I still don't feel like a complete man. So yeah, that's all it is. They're pathetic losers.
Okay, our next segue is mixed metaphor.
Oh, wait. Didn't I think it's a regular metaphor.
Yes, you had normal metaphor before. And we're going to be talking about... What are we talking about? My computer would like to load the page. Yes. The International Criminal Court is starting the first hearings for the ex-Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. This is from Ted Regencia on Al Jazeera. Duterte faces 3 counts of crimes against humanity, allegedly committed during his time as president and Davao mayor. The International Criminal Court, ICC, has begun pre-trial hearings for former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, who is facing 3 counts of crimes against humanity for deadly anti-drug crackdowns he oversaw while in office. Duterte, 80, was not in the Hague courtroom today on the 23rd of February, having waived his right to appear as prosecutors began presenting evidence to support their charges of his alleged involvement in dozens of killings as part of his so-called war on drugs. The 4-day confirmation of charges hearing will determine whether there is enough evidence against Duterte to proceed to a formal trial. After the hearing, the judge will have 60 days to issue a written decision. The case marks a reversal fortune for Duterte, who had repeatedly cursed the ICC, and offers families of victims and survivors of his 6-year war on drugs a chance at justice. The United States-based watchdog Human Rights Watch said the hearing on the day, the 23rd of February, was a critical step in ensuring justice for victims of the Philippines' war on drugs, while families of the victims called it a moment of truth. Leore Pasco, the mother of 2 men killed by unknown attackers in 2017, told Al Jazeera it was urgent that all those involved in the so-called war on drugs, including the former president, are held accountable. I feel a little bit nervous, but this is the moment of truth. We are hoping that the ICC and the judges will hear the cry of the victims. Luz Veminda Siapo, whose 19-year-old son was killed in 2017, said she was encouraged that there is a progress in the case against Duterte, whom she described as the brains behind the killings. I hope other perpetrators will also be brought to justice, she told Al Jazeera. ICC prosecutors have charged Duterte with crimes against humanity, alleging his involvement in at least 76 murders from 2013 to 2018. The true number of killings during his campaign in Philippines is thought to be as high as 30,000, but they can only confirm 76 of them. And lawyers for the victims have argued that a full trial could encourage many more families to come forward. The first of the 3 counts against Duterte concerns his alleged involvement as a co-perpetrator in 19 murders carried out from 2013 to 2016 while he was the mayor of Davao City. The second relates to 14 murders of the so-called high-value targets in 2016 and 2017 when he was president. Third charge covers 43 murders committed during a clearance operation of lower-level accused drug users or pushers across the Philippines from 2016 to 2018. Duterte denies the charges. His lawyer, Nicolas Kaufman, told journalists in advance of the hearing. Duterte, who was president from 2016 to 22, was arrested in Manila in March last year, flown to the Netherlands, and has since been held at the ICC's detention unit at Scheveningen prison. Ooh, that's very near me, actually. I can go wave at him and say, hello! I can't hear you, you're muted. He followed his initial hearing 3 days... Sorry?
They lock up politicians. They lock up politicians in some countries. Interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy, yeah. When they commit crimes against humanity, even. He followed his initial... Yeah. He followed his initial hearing 3 days later via video link, appearing dazed and feral and barely speaking. I don't think the prisons here are that bad, but also I don't really care. Sorry.
Prisons where?
I'm not saying he's guilty, but you know, I don't feel bad for leaders of countries. That's kind of the risk you take. If you want to get elected and be a leader of a country, there is a risk that you will be hung up in the square, so to speak.
Yeah.
In a letter sent to the court.
I'm sorry, I thought it was my metaphor time.
No, I'm not done yet, sorry. In a letter sent to the court last Tuesday, which I don't know what day that, or maybe it was today. No, because today's Monday. It had to be last Tuesday. Last Tuesday was a day. Where's my calendar? I can't find my calendar. Last Tuesday was a day. I don't know what day it was. Duterte remained defiant, saying he does not recognize the jurisdiction of the court and he is proud of his legacy of murdering at least 30,000 people, or being the one ordering the killings, right? Duterte has accused the court of carrying out his kidnapping in cooperation with incumbent President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., a former ally and the 22 running mate of his daughter, Vice President Sara Duterte. The Philippines left the ICC in 2019 on Duterte's instruction, very convenient, but the court has ruled that it still has jurisdiction over offenses committed there from 2011 to 2019. The defense has appealed the ruling. A decision on its filing is still pending. Duterte, the first Asian former head of state to appear in the ICC, remains hugely popular in the Philippines, where many favored his tough approach to crime. 2 demonstrations have been registered for Monday, today, the 23rd of February, in The Hague, one in support of Duterte and another in support of the victims of the war on drugs. As a person who believes in the human right to destroy your body with drugs, I'm not a fan of killing people for doing drugs, so I guess that's where I sit on this topic. Where'd you go? Oh, you're bending over. I thought you disappeared. You're still muted.
Looking for something. Okay, so my mixed metaphor.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the fox. It's like the fox is guarding the chickens, but the chickens voted for the fox.
And I guess some of them were happy. Like, I never did drugs, so I was happy he killed all those drug pushers. I never did drugs.
And who needs trials? They're guilty. They're obviously guilty. Look at them. They can't defend themselves. Speak up, dead guy. Obviously, it's him. He can't say a word in his own defense.
Yeah, terrible.
That guy over Okay.
I have another
next
story after
or
this. Yes. My next story is going to be about a positive, I'm hoping a positive change for the Netherlands, as the new Dutch government has been sworn in under Prime Minister Rob Jettin, with the king giving, putting the sword over. I don't know what he does. I'm assuming he does something special. Maybe puts something over and says, "You are now the leader of the country for now." King William Alexander swore in a new minority Dutch coalition government today on the 23rd of February, led by Rob Jettin, the Netherlands' youngest ever prime minister, wishing them good luck in uncertain times, and also the first openly gay one. I thought that was also his thing. The youngest and most openly gayest prime minister ever. Something like that. Imagine that, you get a little sash. Gayest prime minister. This is on Euronews. The three-party administration, which took 117 days to form, which is normal because, yet again, I have to repeat, there's like 37 parties in the Netherlands and they all have to agree which side they're sitting on. Yep. It's made up of Jettin's Central Liberal D66, Democrat 66 party, the center-right Christian Democrats, and the center-right People's Party for Freedom and Democracy, VVD. The minority coalition holds only 66 of the lower house of Parliament's 150 seats. So that's why they're considered a minority coalition, because they don't hold enough seats to actually do a full, majority. We're going to pass everything we want. Jen will therefore have to negotiate with opposition lawmakers on each piece of legislation his government proposes. That is likely to be tough, given that the biggest opposition bloc, the newly emerged Green Left Labour Party, GroenLinks and PvdA, has already expressed strong objections to Jettin's plans to cut healthcare and welfare costs. The Prime Minister and his team of ministers were sworn in by the King in the Orange Hall of the Royal Palace in Huis ten Bosch in The Hague. Following the traditional photo of the new cabinet on the palace steps, the new government plans to begin work with its first meeting in the afternoon. So they're probably in a meeting right now, or they've already gone home for dinner, actually, because I think Dutch people only work until 4 p.m. That is the joke. In October, D66 narrowly won from the far-right party of Freedom PVV in a nail-biting snap parliamentary election race. The snap election was called after the PVV withdrew from the previous coalition because Wilders cannot run a government. And I don't know why you guys keep voting for him, because he can't run a government. It's fine if you want to vote for Party for Freedom, but not because of him. The country's most right-wing government in recent history. The Liberal Centrist Party was the last in government during the final term of former Prime Minister Mark Rutte, which fell in 2023 following a crisis regarding asylum, and also people were tired of seeing him on TV. That's my theory. We saw Mark Rutte on the TV during COVID every day for 4 years. We were tired of seeing his face. They voted for somebody else. That's kind of how spoiled some Dutch people can be, I want to say. The grass is greener when it's a different color. Jettin, who is also the country's first openly gay prime minister himself, served as the Minister for Climate and Energy Policy in the last coalition under Rutte until 24. Jettin campaigned hard for a return to progressive politics, focusing on green energy and to keep energy costs down, building cities to tackle the housing crisis, and easing the strain of the healthcare system by prioritizing illness prevention. You don't need to go to the hospital if you don't get sick. Subject of housing, the centrist politician said he wanted to build 10 new towns. I don't know where, but let me know. And cut the red tape that would allow 100,000 new homes a year to be completed. That's right. The strongest problem against the housing crisis is that people aren't actually building houses. There's no new builds. You can't sell a house that doesn't exist. Meanwhile, on the sensitive issue of migration, Jettin pledged to spend more on integration programs and to tackle illegal immigration by allowing asylum claims to be made outside of the EU. Exactly. That's the problem the UK is having. If you want to claim asylum in the UK, unfortunately, their laws say you have to be physically in the UK to seek asylum, which is why so many people are being people smuggled into the UK just so they can go, I claim asylum. So if you're allowed to ask for asylum when you're not living in the country, you don't have a bunch of people illegally living in your country waiting for those asylum pleas to be approved or disproved, right? Makes sense to me. It's a bit of a middle ground, right? Jettin, who is looking to reset the Netherlands' influential role in the EU after was seen having eroded under the previous government, said on the campaign trail that he wanted to bring the Netherlands back to the heart of Europe, because without European cooperation, we are nowhere. The Prime Minister also underscored the importance of ties with the US, a major trading partner for the Dutch economy. Yes, where we export a majority of our agricultural goods to the United States, here in the Netherlands. So, and that's why I always make fun of the farmers who say, without farmers, there's no food. It's like, the food's for the U.S., not for us. You're exporting most of it to the United States, you're not keeping it in the country. But yeah. The
United States can't grow food on their own now. I can't understand that. Oh, that's right. We sell it all to China. Oh, we don't sell it to China anymore. It just rots in the.
It's almost like we're in a global economy or something. Yeah, it's crazy. But that's my story on the new government and the plans, I guess, for the future. And hopefully it works out. We'll see what happens. I'm very happy about that new homes being built thing, because that is the number one cause for the housing crisis here. Give me a mixed metaphor.
A mixed metaphor, a coalition is like a marriage where the only thing they have in common is their common enemies. Mm-hmm. And neither one of you can cook. That's what it's like. That's exactly what it is. This food sucks. Yeah, well, you cook next time.
I'll try that is sadly sometimes what happens, right? It's like, well, if you have a better idea for what we can do, let us know. Yeah.
By the way, bad news for Pam Blondie today. The Dow was under 50,000. Oh yeah. Shit.
The Dow is not up anymore, huh?
It's only, the Dow is only at 48,941. What the hell are we going to do? It's not 50,000 anymore, Pam. What are we going to do? Pam?
And here is our... I'm going to tell you a joke. If there was anybody
that acted guilty, it was her, because she is all over those files. Guaranteed.
Take it away to your next story.
All right, we're going to do the quick story about the armed man shot and killed at Mar-a-Lago, and it's always a white guy. What did I spin? What did you spin? Sorry. You write it down.
Tell a joke.
Okay. Well, this is no joking matter because this guy's dead, but it was kind of suicidal to begin with. What are you thinking in your head? This is a mentally disabled person who is shot dead. An armed man shot and killed after entering security perimeter of Mar-a-Lago, Secret Service says. This is from Associated Press. Oh no, it's from opb.org. I don't know what that means, but Michael L. Price. Associated Press. It's from the Associated Press. An armed man drove into the secure perimeter of Mar-a-Lago, that awful resort that Stinky the Clown owns in Palm Beach, Florida, as another vehicle was exiting before being shot and killed on Sunday morning, according to the spokesman of the U.S. Secret Service. Yeah, that's not very clever. I know, I'll drive in when the gates open. And yeah, okay. Was he driving or riding? Oh, yeah. It doesn't even say it. We'll get to it. The man, who was in his early 20s and from North Carolina, and it had a gas can and a shotgun, according to Anthony Guglielmi, the spokesman, and been reported missing by his family for a few days ago. Investigators believe he had headed south, picked up the shotgun along the way. Guglielmi said a box for the weapon was discovered in a man's vehicle after the incident, which took place at around 1:30 a.m. 1:30 a.m. The man, of course, Stinky wasn't even there. I'm not exactly sure who he thought he was going to shoot. Like, Stinky was up in the White House, so was he going to shoot the gardener staff, the pool boy? Who's he going to shoot? The guests? What a dumbass. The man killed was identified as by investigators 20-year-old Austin Tucker Martin, according to a person familiar with the matter. The person spoke in a condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to publicly discuss details of that investigation. I guess he was going to just set the place on fire. That's what he was going to do. Well, other than the fire regulations that he would have violated, set it on fire. I mean, it's a big old eyesore anyway, my opinion of it. Donald Trump's an eyesore, but let's get back to the story. Trump had faced threats of his life before. the fake assassination attempt, which is totally doctored. Let's not even bring that up. That wasn't a threat to his life. That was completely staged. And the other one where they arrested a guy for having a gun somewhere in Florida. That's not an assassination attempt either. Having a gun somewhere in Florida is not illegal. That guy went to prison for having a gun somewhere in Florida. That's basically it. There has never been an assassination attempt on Trump. Telling me there has been is a complete lie. After entering near the north gate of the property, the man was confronted by two Secret Service agents at Palm County Sheriff's Deputy, according to Palm Beach County Sheriff's Rick Bradshaw. He was ordered to drop those two pieces of equipment that he had with him. This is them, by the way. This is the Secret Service telling you this, so it's probably completely fabricated. At which time he put down the gas can and raised the shotgun to a shooting position, Bradshaw said. At a brief conference, the two agents and deputy fired the weapons to neutralize the threat. The FBI asked residents who live near Mar-a-Lago to check any security cameras they may have for footage to help investigators. Investigators worked to complete psychological profile. This incursion at Mar-a-Lago took place a few miles from Trump's West Palm Beach club, where a man tried to assassinate him. Nobody tried to assassinate on him. A guy had a gun. Nobody tried to assassinate him. That's just a fucking lie. A guy with a gun is not an assassination attempt. Just so you know that. This was not an assassination attempt. Trump wasn't there. He wasn't there. Neither one of those things were assassination attempts. That fake staged one was not an assassination attempt. If you look at it, not an assassination attempt, and neither was this. If it happened. If it happened. Okay, so anyway, so they shot a guy. Secret Service is a bunch of, and believe me, I worked with the Secret Service years and years and years. They are the least, let's say, they have the least integrity, except maybe the Border Patrol. Except the Border Patrol, not necessarily the people I work with. I'm talking about the field agents. And now, of course, the Border Patrol's gross incompetence has been replaced by ICE and their gross incompetence. So you got three levels of gross. I would say Secret Service, most easily compromised, I would say. Third most easily compromised. After that is Border Patrol, when they lowered standards a bunch of years ago just to hire more agents. And of course, ICE, which they have no standards. And no standards, and they wear masks and shoot people. So there's no standards at all there. So anyway, there's your real suspicious story. I guarantee this guy was not left-wing. The things we've seen about him, he was a right-winger. But we're only going to get the Secret Service and FBI's version of events. So good luck getting any facts. Let's have us a joke, I guess. A joke about this, because I'm joking about it already. I don't believe a word of it.
I'm a narcoleptic Green Day fanatic.
A Green Day fanatic? Why?
I'm a narcoleptic Green Day fanatic. Wake me up when September ends. Because I think this person was a fanatic. He was like, I really want to go see Trump, and then he just went there, and that's my joke. I'm just making jokes about fanatics, people who don't use all of their judgment. They don't use the best judgment, and they think, hey, I love this person so much, they're gonna love me back, and it's like, dude, that guy doesn't know who you are. You're just some guy.
He was a Trump supporter.
Yeah.
He was a Trump supporter,
fanatic.
According to his online presence. He was a Trump supporter who was disappointed and mad about the Epstein list. And he was going to burn down Mar-a-Lago. He took the shotgun because you know what? Somebody might try to stop me. Maybe I can shoot him. I don't think he went there to shoot Trump. So calling this an assassination attempt when he wasn't even in the state. He was 1,000 miles away in Florida. How is that an assassination attempt? And by the way, the guy at the golf course, whatever, that wasn't an assassination attempt either. It's trespassing, right? That's all it is. It was trespassing. Criminal trespassing. That's it. He didn't try to shoot anybody. Did a round leave his weapon? No, that's not an attempt. That's a guy with a gun. Maybe he was grouse hunting. Maybe he was hunting the elusive Bigfoot in Florida.
Here's another joke.
Either way, calling it an assassination attempt is lame.
Two people are on a date. One says, I'm a golf fanatic. I think about golf constantly. Yeah. I'll be out on the golf course just about every day, every holiday, just every chance I get. I try to play 36 hole each day. And if the weather's good, I'll try to play even more. When he finished explained that, he said, "I thought you should know that before we go any further." The woman pondered this for a moment and said, "I thank you for your honesty. Now, in the same spirit of honesty, I should tell you that I've concealed something about my own past that you should know about. The truth is, I'm a hooker." There was a long pause, and her heart was sinking with every second of protracted silence. She watched him fidget with his hands, and still there in silence, she began to despair. Finally, he picks up his head, looks right at her, and says, "That's not really a problem. Just widen your stance a little and overlap your grip. That should clear it right up." Because he's a golf fanatic. There you go. There's another joke for you about golf and hookers. Haha, hooker
okay,
joke.
one more story.
Yeah. One more story.
Not exactly lending itself to humor either, because it's about the Mexican cartels. And this is from Euronews.com. Kegla Uren. U-R-E-N. How Mexico forces killed El Mencho. I like how all the cartel guys got these El whatever names, you know.
Well, it's just the.
Bob
Yeah, it's just
cartel.
the really cool guy. That's what they call me.
El Mencho. Mexican security forces killed Jalisco New Generation cartel leader Nemesio Cervantes on Sunday, an operation that involved the Air Force, Special Forces, U.S. intelligence support. But the cartel's violent response across 20 states. I have a friend that was in down by, I think, Puerto Vallarta or one of them places, vacation spots, right? They just got out before this stuff happened, right? They just came back to the States. They have one of those timeshares down there. They went for the timeshare in Mexico, I think. The operation in Tapalpa, known as Jalisco State, ended with Osaquera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, a moniker that roughly translates to the guy with the bad taste, El Mencho, dying from wounds sustained in a firefight. Yeah, I didn't think Mencho meant anything good. Within hours, cartel gunmen set fire to vehicles and blocked roads nationwide in coordinated reprisals. Mexican Army troops, backed by the Air Force and Special Forces, launched an operation in southern Jalisco State on Sunday, according to Mexico's Defense Ministry. Washington, that's the city in the U.S., provided intelligence support that helped locate the 59-year-old cartel leader. Actually, if you're going to be more correct, it's going to be Langley, Virginia. If you're about it, not Washington. If you're going to call out the CIA, let's call out where they actually are headquartered. It's not in Washington. When troops moved in to arrest him in Tapalpa, cartel members opened fire. 4 cartel members were killed immediately in a firefight. 3 others, including Osaquera Cervantes, were wounded. The cartel leader later died. Well, that's his name. El Mencho was wounded, later died while being transported by air to Mexico City, the ministry said. Mexican forces seized rocket launchers capable of shooting down aircraft, armored vehicles, and other weapons.
Wow.
2 people were detained.
A whole damn
3
army.
soldiers. Yeah, it was an army operation. 3 soldiers were wounded during the operation. Within hours of the operation, cartel gunmen launched coordinated attacks across Mexico. Vehicles were set on fire, used to block highways in more than 250 locations across 20 states. Mexico's security cabinet said the violence hit hardest in Jalisco and neighboring states where a cartel maintains the strongest presence. Guadalajara, Mexico's second largest city, and Jalisco's capital, became a ghost town as residents stayed indoors. Tourists in Puerto Vallarta reported panic and explosion. U.S. airlines, including Southwest, Alaska, Delta, canceled flights to the resort city. U.S. State Department urged American citizens in affected areas to shelter in place. You did not have to tell me. Schools were canceled on Monday in several states. Guatemala reinforced security along its border with Mexico. Authorities cleared most of the roadblocks by Sunday night, but the violence demonstrated the cartel's capacity to disrupt the country even after losing its leader. The Jalisco cartel leader is one of the most wanted criminals in both Mexico and the United States. The State Department offered a $15 million reward for information leading to his arrest. I wonder if anybody collected that. Probably not. Are they going to give it to the Mexican Army now? He was wanted on multiple U.S. federal indictments for trafficking methamphetamine, cocaine, and fentanyl to the United States. He faced charges the Drug Kingpin Enforcement Act for directing continuing criminal enterprise. Trump designated the let's not mention Trump. Okay, the killing represents a major boost for Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum's government, which has faced demands from Stinky's administration. Who cares what he says? Osorio Cervantes founded the Jalisco New Generation Cartel around 2009. That's long after I left that part of the world. And after serving as a chief hitman for the Miliano cartel, he transformed into Mexico's fast-growing criminal organization. The cartel ended notoriety for militarized tactics, including shooting down a Mexican military helicopter in 2015 and attempting to assassinate Mexico's police chief. Under his leadership, the cartel established operations in at least 21 of Mexico's 32 states and across all 50 U.S. states. And I imagine the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico, too. It became a primary source of fentanyl entering the United States, say intelligence people. Osorio Cervantes has been involved in drug trafficking for more than 3 decades. He was convicted of conspiracy to distribute heroin in California in 1994 and served nearly 3 years in prison before being deported to Mexico. The cartel has no clear successor, which is a problem. Security analyst David Sequedo warned if the relative state control of violence could continue, if others seize power, they might seek to stabilize operations. The worst scenario would be indiscriminate attacks against the government similar to Colombia in the 1990s, which car bombs and assassinations, Sequedo said. El Mancho's death, which they've changed the spelling of his name. It was El Mencho at the beginning, now it's El Mancho, which probably means something else. Let's call him El Mencho, because that's what his name is the most significant blow against Mexican cartels since their capture of Sinaloa cartel boss Joaquin El Chapo Guzman a decade ago. So what happens? Not a whole lot changes, except there's going to be a lot more violence as a power vacuum has been created. And the old saying is, nature abhors a vacuum, and organized crime also does. So there's your mixed metaphor there. That's the story. The story on El Mencho, who at the end of the story had already, in his deathman, changed to El Mancho. El Mencho, El Mancho, potato, tomato, tomato.
I don't think he was a great guy, so it's probably, okay if we mess up his name.
Yeah,
the Mexican drug cartel.
Other people died that were just trying to enforce the law. Let's remember them. A lot of soldiers did get shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is.
If the Mexican drug cartel had a slogan, it would be putting the Juan in marijuana. What do you get when you cross a drug cartel and a mafia lord?
Donald Trump.
Probably killed.
Oh, yeah, you don't cross them. I got it. Ha. Yeah, you end up with cement shoes. You end up swimming with the fishes, right? Swimming with the fishes.
All right, there's my jokes on drug cartels or cartels in general, I guess.
All right, time for a spin.
Let's spin the segue for my culture news. Yes, I've already put it in.
A video of
way ahead of you.
My competence of today's show. It totally, completely covers it. What do we get? What do we spin?
Another one, because it's metaphor again. I've already done enough metaphors today, I think. Let's get something different.
Meta 5.
Looks like it's a haiku. So this is going to be a story coming off of my culture news, and about a very awkward situation that happened during the BAFTAs over the weekend. Definitely awkward. This is by Jill Lawless on AP News, coming out of London. Britain's Film Academy and the BBC apologized to viewers after an audience member with Tourette syndrome shouted a racial slur during the British Academy Film Awards, also known as the BAFTAs. The highly offensive word can be heard as Sinners star Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were presenting the award for Best Visual Effects during Sunday's ceremony. Host Alan Cumming had earlier told the audience that a guest of the ceremony was John Davidson, a Scottish campaigner for people with Tourette syndrome who inspired the BAFTA-nominated film I Swear. Tourette syndrome, a neurodevelopment disorder, is characterized by sudden and involuntary movements or sounds called tics that tend to wax and wane but can worsen with excitement or anxiety, according to the U.S. National Institute of Health. They may appear to be purposeful but are not, and the NIH's National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Strokes Tourette information page says people trying to suppress them often report a buildup of tension before a tic erupts. It's like trying to hold in a fart. At some point, it's going to come out. The Tourette Association of America says that about 10 to 15% of people with the syndrome express a kind of a vocal tic called coprolalia, involuntary swearing, slurs, or other socially unacceptable words or phrases. Several shouts were audible during the first part of the ceremony, although what was said wasn't intelligible to an Associated Press reporter in the press room. After the slur was shouted during Jordan and Linda's presentation, Cumming apologized to the audience at London's Royal Festival Hall for the strong and offensive language. Tourette syndrome is a disability, and the tics you have heard tonight are involuntary, which means that the person who has Tourette syndrome has no control over the language, Cumming said. We apologize if you were offended. The British Academy of Film and Television Arts referred to Cummings' statement when asked for comment today on the 23rd of February. The epithet could be heard when the BBC broadcast the ceremony about 2 hours after the live event. The broadcaster apologized for not editing it out before the broadcast, though the offensive word could still be heard on the iPlayer streaming service as of this morning. The program was later removed, and the BBC said the slur would be edited out. Some viewers may have heard strong and offensive language during the BAFTA Film Awards, the BBC said in the statement. This arose from involuntary verbal tic associated with Tourette syndrome, and as explained during the ceremony, it was not intentional. I Swear won 2 BAFTAs, including Best Actor for Robert Mayo, who plays Davidson. Representatives for the film and for Jordan and Lindo did not immediately respond to the request for comment. Ed Palmer, vice chair of the charity Tourette's Action, said the BBC should have considered bleeping out the slur. This is really one of the most acute examples of where something that is a disability can cause quite understandably huge amounts of offense to someone, he told Times Radio. So if it's being pre-recorded now, then bleeping it out, for example, might be a reasonable compromise. What's my opinion on this drama? You're allowed to be insulted. You're allowed to be insulted. I don't think anyone here, because I have seen some people on social media, explicitly black people, right? Some black people on social media saying, why are we letting him get away with saying a racial slur? And I'm like, you don't have to. Oh, if anybody's telling you to let him get away with it, you don't have to. You can be insulted. You can take offense. At the end of the day, explicitly Jordan and Lindo are probably the ones who definitely need to clarify how they feel about this, because they were the receivers of the insult, so to say. Whether or not the person with Tourette's meant to insult them, right, doesn't matter, because offense was taken, I assume. So you're allowed to take offense, and if anybody is out there telling you you're not allowed to take offense, they're wrong. That's my opinion, right? People are allowed to take offense. You know, I don't see the problem here. I don't
mind. I'm just saying. I mean, it's like when you excuse drunk people. Oh, I didn't mean what I said when I was drunk. No, actually, you did mean what you said. The alcohol just lubricated all those feelings. So I think it's gotta be in your mind, right? You don't just use those words because you're not really kind of angry. No,
I agree, exactly. Because I think even though Tourette's is involuntary, right? It is definitely stimulated by it's stimulated by whatever's happening to you, right? So if you are in a presence of black people and you know that there's an insulting word for that, your brain, for whatever reason, is gonna say it, and unfortunately that is what happened, right? I don't think that means he's racist or anything, but we all know what the word is, right? It's a very known thing that there's a word to insult black people with, and people have said it. So if your brain has that information, it's good.
People
but this
think
person's a real
funny, so that's stupid. It's stupid, and again, it's like, you think that's funny, but there's an actual condition, and it's hard to get. How would you know the difference if somebody was faking?
But this person is a real person with it, so this isn't somebody faking it.
I wouldn't even know the difference. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. met the guy before. I don't know if he's faking it or not.
Yeah, I mean,
but my haiku
yelling a
says,
slur
here we
at
go.
you're gonna be insulted. Yeah, for sure.
It's something trips that anger in your brain. You strike out for some reason. I don't know if it's always anger either. It's more just saying things that are pop into your mouth. Because I think a lot of people have said the wrong word, like a Freudian slip. All right, your haiku. Tourette syndrome, huh? Just blurting out random slurs. Motherfucking douche.
I really feel for the guy. I'm sure he doesn't want to be known as some racist guy in the audience at the BAFTAs as well, right? So, but like you said, he already apologized.
No applause for my haiku. That really feels so bad.
Well, that's all right. I'm slow today too. I have to go through 3 different windows to get to the.
Don't take that personally, by the way. That was Tourette's talking. It wasn't me.
That's not how Tourette's works. So thank you. But like,
exactly
I think the person who did the thing apologized. The Alan Cummings apologized. The BBC apologized. So it's up to Jordan and Lindo to accept that apology or not. They're allowed to do that. And yet again, yeah, if you are insulted by that, you're allowed to be insulted by it. I think that's okay. And I'm sure we'll move on from this.
I was going to quote Nirvana's shortest song, which is called Tourette's. And I think that's the only reason it's called Tourette's is he was yelling random shit into the microphone because as look at lyrics, it makes no sense.
Whatever the first thing that comes into your brain, yeah.
Yeah, it's a song on Nirvana's Utero album, and it's 1 minute and 35, and it's just Kurt Cobain yelling random shit into a microphone. I think that's all it is.
Maybe he had Tourette's. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of people who are able to hide their Tourette's. Like Billie Eilish has Tourette's, but you've never seen it really happen because she keeps her mouth shut and doesn't try to. She probably edits it out in interviews, I think.
You had a lot of problems. All right, then. So segue. I guess for another story.
No more
for
story.
Day in history.
It's time to get out of here.
Yeah, man, it's time for my head to stop. My head's gonna stop throbbing in a minute. My toothache went away, but that's good.
That's good.
Really have a hard time talking when I have a toothache. It's like, ugh.
Okay. I really need to stop
1685. Did you get metaphor
we just keep getting metaphors over and over again. Though I guess technically I haven't done any metaphors today.
Yeah, you always fun of me. We had a joke and a hypo.
All right, I'll do a mixed metaphor then. This day in history, go.
This day in history in 1685. Composer George Friedrich Handel was born in Germany. He was a leading figure in late Baroque music. Not the Baroque music that was on time, the late Baroque music only. Ha 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 ha. That's a bad joke. 1822, Boston, home to the cultural cornerstones such as Boston Symphony Orchestra, was granted a charter to become a city. Museum of Fine Arts. This is how they phrased Boston. Home of cultural Boston, home of culture. I'm doing this again. Boston, home to cultural cornerstones such as the Boston Symphony Orchestra, Museum of Fine Arts, and Harvard University, was granted a charter to become a city. So happy anniversary to Boston, and Harvard. Let's not forget MIT. I don't know. Let's not forget the Tom Brady and the New England Patriots and Larry Bird and the Celtics. Parking your car in the yard. 1836. During the Texas Revolution, Mexican General Antonio Lopez de Santillana began the Siege of the Alamo, which was captured after 13 days, which became a Texas symbol of heroic resistance, or historic renaissance, for that matter. Heroic resistance invoking the phrase, remember the Alamo. And if you've ever been to the Alamo, it's really small. I thought it was like this big building. I mean, if you spend 45 minutes at a tour of the Alamo, you've seen everything 5 times. There's nothing really there. There's the River Walk, right, which is a lot of restaurants and places that you can hang out, and that's where everybody goes. They tour the Alamo for 45 minutes, have lunch, read the old graffiti. I mean, the tour's like this. There's a wall, there's a wall, there's a wall, there's a wall. And then they talk about the battle. That's the tour. The siege. It really wasn't a battle, it was siege. 1870, Mississippi was readmitted to the United States following the American Civil War. Big mistake. Should have let them do their own thing. See you later, Mississippi. Have fun. This state had seceded from the Union in 1861. They had to apply for readmission. They probably should have said, nah, we can do without you. Maybe they just wanted their cotton really bad. 1945, 6 U.S. servicemen raised the American flag over Mount Suribachi. There was more than one flag raising, by the way. There might have been 7 or 8.
Wow.
It's a big old volcano, is what it is. A big old volcano on a really flat island. You can see the top from everywhere around. So if you put a flag on any side of that, you probably didn't see it from the other side, you know. People thought they were at the top. Close enough, let's put a flag up. So everybody had a flag with them, either a small one or whatever. Every unit had a flag. So we don't know how many people actually raised all the different flags, but 6 U.S. servicemen got the ultimate credit for one picture or one video. This was at the Battle of Iwo Jima during World War II. The Battle of Iwo Jima, part of the U.S. Pacific campaign against Japan, was one of the bloodiest conflicts in the war. We revisited this on Friday because I was talking about it. And I showed you my sand from Iwo Jima. 1965, Stan Laurel died at the age of 75. You know Laurel and Hardy, they were the first talkie comedy team. Stan Laurel was a skinny guy. He played a bumbling, foolish character. Laurel was a major creative force behind Laurel and Hardy. Yeah, it's always the dumb guy that's the brains behind the act. You ever notice that? 2000, Carlos Santana won 8 Grammy Awards for Supernatural, tying his record set by Michael Jackson. His music combined rock, jazz, blues, and it still does. I mean, Carlos Santana's still around. Of course, that was his most recent hit, and it's already been 26 years. Isn't that crazy? Since Smooth came out featuring, what's his name on the vocals? The guy from Matchbox 20. Maybe you remember his name. I don't remember his name. But Carlos Santana's still around. Let's not talk about him in the past tense. Still playing, still around in his 80s. So happy anniversary to winning that Grammy. Long overdue. Probably, if not the greatest living guitar player, one of the best living guitar player. 1540 in this day is our featured event. Coronado leads an expedition to find the 7 cities of Cibola. Well, how many did he find? Maybe he's still looking. On this day, 1540, Francisco Vasquez de Coronado, which has a lot of stuff in San Diego named after Coronado, led an expedition north from Mexico in pursuit of the legendary 7 cities of Cibola. The group consisting of more than 1,000 men explored much of the southwestern United States. Smaller parties split from main group and documented such sites as the Grand Canyon, the Colorado River. Cibola, however, turned out to be nothing but a myth, corresponding perhaps to Zuni Pueblo village between present-day Arizona and Mexico, where Coronado's men discovered the buildings were made of adobe, not gold. Adobe is mud. That's all it is. 1685, what we do our featured birthday. Our featured biography is W.E.B. Du Bois, I think it's Du Bois, American sociologist and social reformer. One of your leading African-American scholars. He was born February 23rd, 1868 in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. So he was born in the North. He moved to Africa. He died August 27th, 1963 at the age of 95 in Accra, Ghana. So he died in Ghana at the age of 95, a long life. Man, he was actually alive during my life. I did not even realize that. So I did overlap with somebody really famous from the 19th century. And I'm not sure he got famous in the 19th century. I know he got famous in the 20th century. Other birthdays today, we got Handel, we got Du Bois, Kazimir Malevich, avant-garde painter, born in 1878. Naruhito, the Emperor of Japan, born in 1960, and Michael Dell, the guy who started Dell Computers, and I don't even know if that even exists anymore. But anyway, he is turning 61 today. He was born in 1965. Our National Day calendar has National Tootsie Roll Day. A little thing that looks like a small little dog turd. It tastes like chocolate when they didn't quite finish making the chocolate. That's kind of what it tastes like to me. And National Tile Day. So I'm not even sure what to say about that. It shows a bunch of bathroom tiles. I always wanted to tile a room with individual tiles that were all different. That kind of thing. That would be kind of cool. That would be my, what do you call it, psychedelic experiment. And then just have mirrors, right? Have mirrors on two walls and the psychedelic panels on all the other two walls, and have them just reflect back and forth and drop acid and sit there for 2 days. National Dog Biscuit Day, National Banana Bread Day. So those are your days for today. So everything, unless there's more, because it says see more. Let's see what else we got. Sometimes there's like 8 hidden ones. I don't think there is, but we'll see. Nope, that's all it is today. Those are your haikus, your mispronunciations, your horror readings, and boom goes the dynamite type readings on February 23rd, 2026, on before Tootsie Rolls and Banana Bread. Hell of a combo. And dog biscuits. Don't forget, it's National Dog Biscuit Day. It's not a biscuit made of dogs. It's when you feed the dogs. Okay.
Okay, sounds.
My video. I haven't loaded my video yet.
I really hope it's not made out of dogs. Biscuit made out of dogs.
Well,
as we know, it was my birthday on Friday, so it's good to be back to just normal times where I'm not doing any special events. And today's Mucking Fonday is just the tip of the cake for news for the rest of the week. So. Don't forget to bite the dog biscuit that feeds you, and make sure you're not all bark and no trousers. And there we go. All my mixed metaphors today.
No trousers. Yeah, okay. Okay, hold on a second. Get my soundboard up again. It takes a minute. Right. Okay, I finally got the video loaded. No, I was just saying, if banana bread is made from bananas, then what are dog biscuits made from? That's all I'm saying.
Mystery food. There are no international UN celebrations this week at all, so keep celebrating Black lives, that they matter and their history, because it's still Black History Month. I've kind of run out of Black History Month stories, and I apologize for that, but I guess we kind of talked about how, people are saying slurs through Tourette's, and you're allowed to be insulted as a Black person if you want to be. You have that right. We will see you tomorrow for Good News Day, in which we'll have our good news stories to give ourselves and you back hope in humanity again, because there are some good things happening out there, whether it be scientific discoveries or humans caring about each other, or animals just being animals and brightening our days. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands, Roger from the East Coast of the US. Please do not forget to subscribe to the Before Coffee podcast channel on YouTube, because we need more subscribers on there so that more people can see and hear about our show. Push that algorithm, push us into the algorithm. And I appreciate everyone who's already following and subscribed. Turn those notifications on so you know when we go live and post a video. Thank you everyone on Patreon for supporting the show. And here is our mic drop moment. A recreation of
Goes the Dynamite is the story of a young Ball
Roger
State
was
freshman
doing at the
who took a
beginning.
job filling in for the regular sportscaster on his campus news and earned himself a place in internet meme history. 19-year-old Brian Collins was a communications major who volunteered to fill in when the usual sports anchor for Ball State's Newslink at 9 canceled.
The Nets won the last Sunday's matchup 94-85, which left the Pacers one game behind the Chicago in the 7th series spot. Let's check out the highlights.
Brian, the nice guy that he is, volunteered to fill in having never actually done a sportscast before. And while he started off good, eventually things go tragically, humiliatingly.
The teleprompter guy was new.
Last
to fill in. The
week player on. It seems every week they have a player.
Too fast.
He mumbles.
Oh no.
Stumbles.
The Indiana Pacers are looking for a measure of revenge tonight.
And seems to mouth the words, "I'm so sorry." And at one point tries ever so hard to reclaim his confidence with a half-hearted delivery of the iconic catchphrase that would soon catapult this video into internet history.
Later, he gets the rebound, passes it to the man, shoots it, and boom goes the dynamite.
While undoubtedly mortifying at the time,
boom goes the
Brian
dynamite.
probably had no idea what was soon to come.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot for that look into sports, Brian.
Yeah.
The clip was posted to the controversial
I'm glad I
internet
was here,
website,
guys.
E-Bombs World, and soon it was being passed around
I had
through
to
email
pause to let
links
you
and
catch
forums
up.
worldwide. But like all good stories,
I love this story,
Brian
man.
Collins' mortifying experience caught the attention of the real-world media, cementing his certification as internet gold.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Brian Collins.
Here he is, Brian. Boom goes the dynamite Collins. Right, tell me, where did the catchphrase come from?
You know, college people like to have fun and things, and one thing that we do is we have Mario Kart tournaments. Part of that is you create catchphrases. Later, he gets the rebound, passes it to the man, shoots it, and boom goes the dynamite.
He passed
Meanwhile,
it to
the world caught on, making Boom Goes the
Pass it to
Dynamite
the
a
man.
regular
he had no
catchphrase.
help. It wasn't his fault, man. He had no help.
Boom goes the dynamite! Oh, boom goes the dynamite! Boom goes the dynamite!
Even Hollywood picked up on it, with mentions on the television programs
Right.
Family Guy and Veronica Mars.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Support came from everywhere,
Yep.
including ESPN SportsCenter anchor Scott Van Pelt, who sent an email to Collins reassuring him, "If this is the worst thing that ever happens to you, life will be good." Van Pelt went on to adopt Boom Goes the Dynamite into his own repertoire, and Brian, well, he overcame his initial
Poor Scott
experience
Van
to
Pelt.
become
He's
the
gotta
Ball
borrow
State
stuff.
Newslink at 9 weatherman. In the spring of 2008, Brian graduated from Ball State with his communications degree and moved to Waco, Texas,
Ball
where
State,
he now
the same
reports for
college
ABC
David Letterman
affiliate
went to.
KXXV. In an interview about the experience, Brian once said, quote, "The one thing I was proud of, I didn't just get up and walk out. I didn't die. I took it until
That's
the
true.
end." We should all be so strong, because in the end,
We should be like that. Yeah.
all dynamite
Oh, we
goes.
definitely did. We screwed up all the time. Hell yeah.
That's right. And we stayed to the end, even if we started this show.
Don't forget.
3
Not so
at 3
great.
p.m.
Don't forget, old boy.
Switching to Ball
Old
State
boy is a
men's
journalist
tennis,
to this day.
it seems
He's
last
still, to this day.
week player
He didn't
on.
give up.
working
It
in
seems every
television.
week that you have a player.
Yeah.
Right.
The Indiana Pacers are looking for a measure of revenge tonight, and ended up doing
Looking at
poorly.
Measure of Revenge.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.